Hey, what's going on guys? Welcome back to another video. So this is the second video in our React design pattern series. In the previous video, we have seen how to implement the container presentation pattern in React application. So if you have missed that video, you can just click on the card above and jump to it directly. In this video, we are going to explore the custom hook pattern in React.js. And this pattern allows you to encapsulate complex logic and reuse code across different components. And this enables more modular and reusable code in our application. So if this sounds interesting, then stick around. Also, don't forget to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss the videos like this one. So let's get started. Alright guys, so before we jump directly to Visual Studio Code and start implementing this custom hook pattern, let's go through some slides and understand what is this pattern about and what are the pros and cons of using custom hook pattern in our application. So let's start with the simple that we have this app component, and in this app component we are having two components. The first one is the stopwatch component and the second is the countdown component. So basically we are creating a stopwatch and a countdown component, and these two components are purely presentational components. Now the next question will come that where are we going to write all the business logic for building this stopwatch and the countdown component? So that's where we are going to make use of a use timer custom hook, and this use timer custom hook will be responsible to handle the state, the logic, and all the side effects. Now we are also going to implement this, but before that we need to understand what are the pros and cons of using custom hook pattern in our application. So the first pros is actually the code reusability. Custom hook allows us to extract and reuse the stateful logic across multiple components, and this actually promotes the DRY, which is the do not repeat yourself principle, and reduce the code duplication. The next one is the separation of concern, since we are encapsulating the logic into the custom hook, and this makes our component simpler and focus on rendering UI, as majority of the logic is handled by the hooks. The third one is the consistency. So with custom hooks, we ensure a consistent behavior across all components, as they all rely on the same logic that we have implemented in the hook. And the last one is the improved readability. Custom hook make our code more readable and maintainable, and because it encapsulates the complex logic into a single place, which can be reused across different parts of our application. Now let's discuss some of the cons of using this pattern. The first one is the learning curve. Developers new to React or hooks might find it a bit challenging to understand and implement a custom hook properly. The next one is the debugging complexity. Debugging sometimes can be more complex as the logic is abstracted away from the component, and sometimes it is hard to trace through multiple layers to understand the behavior of the custom hook. Third is the over abstraction. There are risks of over abstracting logic into hooks, which can sometimes lead to less straightforward code if not managed carefully. And last one is the performance concern. If we are using the custom hooks and if we are not implementing it correctly, then sometimes it can produce unnecessary re-renders of our application, and this can be a performance concern of using custom hook pattern. So we have already discussed the pros and cons of using this pattern. Now let's implement the same use timer custom hook into Visual Studio Code. So I have already bootstrapped my React application using Vite, so you can simply use the command npm create vite@latest and you can get your project. Now I will just give you a quick walkthrough of the project. I have a Vite config file where I have defined the server port 3002, and then if we go to our app.jsx, then this is the pretty standard app.jsx we get with the Vite, and we can just run our application on localhost. So what I will do is we will just start our development environment, and I'm going to use the npm run dev, and this is going to start my server on localhost 3002. So this is how our application looks like. Now what we are going to do is, since we have to build the stopwatch and the countdown functionality, so I'm going to go to my source folder and I'm going to create a components folder where all my presentation components will be there. Then I'm also going to create a hook. So let's have a hooks folder which is going to contain all the hooks. Now in my components folder, I'm going to create a file which will be a countdown component, so countdown.jsx, and I will simply use RSC to get the boilerplate of my function component. Let's create the other one. So I will go back here, and then we are going to create the stopwatch component. So I'm going to have the stopwatch.jsx, and we are going to use the snippet to get the boilerplate code. All right, so we have these two components. Now in the hook, we are going to create a hook that is going to contain all the logic related to the stopwatch and a countdown timer. So I'm going to go to the hook and let's create a new file, which will be the use timer.js. And since we are using this JS extension and JSX for our components, because our component is going to have a JSX part, whereas our use timer is purely going to have the stateful logic and the effects. So now what I will do is first let's write down the custom hook. So in the custom hook, what we want is I'm going to create the function first. So let's have the RSC, and this is going to give me a function component. So I have the use timer. All right, I will just remove, not using this one, so I will just remove them. And the props that we will get for this use timer will be the initial seconds. So let's have a initial seconds, and we define the default value as 0. And we will also need one more prop, which will be the ease countdown, that will let us know that okay, we need this logic to be used for the countdown. All right, so now we have this. Now next what we will do is we are going to create a couple of states. The first state will obviously be the seconds. So I will have a constant. We are going to have the seconds that we want to display it on the screen. So we are going to have the seconds, and let's have the use state for this. So I'm going to have the use state, and I will pass the initial state will be the initial seconds. All right, next I will need the active so that I can build the functionality of start and stop. If it's an active, that means it's a start. If it's a inactive, that means it's a stop. So I'm going to create a boolean which will be is active, and I will have the set is active, and we are going to have a use state, and the initial state will be false. All right, and the third one, I will create a ref variable using the use ref hook. So I will have the interval ref, and we are going to use the use ref, and I'm going to give the initial value as null. So for those who don't know what is use ref hook is and how it is used, the use ref hook have two different features to be used. One is obviously it gives you a reference to an HTML element, but you can also store a value in the use ref.current state. So if you want to learn more about the use ref, then I have a dedicated video on the use ref hook. You can just click on the card above, or you can also find the video link in the description of the video. All right, so we have all these three states. Next what we are going to do is let's create the some functions. So I'm going to have a start function. All right, so this will be an arrow function, and in the start what we are going to do is whenever it's a start, we are going to set the is active as true. All right, the next function we want is to stop. So we are going to have a stop, and whenever we click on the stop, what we need to do is we need to set this is active as false. And we can also create a reset as well. So for the reset, what we will do is whenever it's a reset, we have to reset the is set active. So I'm going to have the is set active as false, the initial value, but along with that I will also need to have the seconds. So those seconds should also get the initial value, which is the 0 seconds. All right, so that's how we know that we have reset our timer. All right, so now we have this, and in the end what we will do is we are going to return from here. So what we will return from here is we are going to return the seconds that we want to print. We are going to return the start function. We are going to return the stop function, reset function, and we are also going to return the is active boolean. All right, so we have all this returned. Now what we need to do is, since it's a stopwatch, so whenever you click or start on the stopwatch, it is going to have this counter 0, 1, 2, 3, which are the seconds. So for that we can just make use of a use effect. So let's have a use effect, and this use effect will be having an arrow function. All right, and in this use effect what we will do is that if is active, that means the timer has started. Let's write the functionality first for the stopwatch. So for the stopwatch, if it's active, then we all have to update this interval ref. So we are going to have this interval ref dot current, where we are going to store the values, and there we can set an interval function. So let's have a set interval function. This set interval function will be running in every seconds. So that's how we are going to increase the stopwatch: 1 second, 2 second, 3 second. So when every time this interval function runs and it sets the value, what we will do is we are going to have this set seconds, and in the set seconds it is going to give us the previous seconds. So we will have the previous seconds, and then we are going to create an arrow function. Now what we will do here is that we will just return here. What we are going to return from this is we will just take the flag that if countdown. All right, if this is true, then in that case what we will do is we are going to take the previous value and we do -1, because this is a countdown. So maybe we set an initial value of a countdown of 60 seconds. Then if it's a countdown, that what we need to do it after every 1 seconds or after every 1000 milliseconds, we have to make the countdown to 59, then 58, then 57. All right, but if it's not the case, then in that case we will assume that it's a stopwatch, so we need to increase the previous seconds. So we are going to have the previous second plus 1. All right, so we have this, and after that what we will do is if it's else, then we will also handle the reset case. So if it's else, this means the is active is false, and along with that is active, we are also going to check on the internal ref dot current. All right, then in this case we are going to just clear our interval that we have already stopped our stopwatch. So let's have the clear interval, and in the clear interval I'm just going to clear the seconds. So I have the ref dot current. All right, we can also have to apply a cleanup functions so that we can just do a cleanup once the component is destroyed. So for that I will have a arrow function, and I'm just going to do a clear interval, and I will clear the interval ref dot current. All right, so we have this complete logic added here, and we also need to make sure that whenever this is active gets changed, because if someone is going to click on a start, is active will change. If someone going to stop, is active will change. So that's why we will have to have a dependency of is active, and along with the is active we will also need to have the countdown. So the countdown can be a true or the countdown can be false. So I will have the is countdown here. All right, now this is the case for I will just minimize this. Now we will see that this is the case for the stopwatch, but what happens if it's a countdown? Then in that case what we need to do is we need to add an additional condition if the countdown is 0. So that means if is countdown is true and our previous second is less than equals to 0, that means the countdown is already done. Then in that case we will just need to clear our interval. All right, because once the countdown comes to a 0, then it will not go anywhere. So that's why we have to just clear our interval that it has stopped. So we will just refresh the value. So we have the interval ref current which will clear the value, and we are going to just return 0. All right, I will just remove this. So we have written a lot of logic here. Let's go through it. So we have created 3 state variables. First one is the seconds, which is going to hold the timer seconds. Next one is the active, which is going to give us start, stop, reset. And the third one is to store the value, which is the use ref. So we are going to use the use ref dot current to store the value. Then we have 3 functions for the start, stop, and reset of our timers. And we return the seconds, all the 3 functions, and there is active boolean. Now in the use effect, what we do is we first check that if it's an active, that means the countdown or the stopwatch is started, and in that case we have to update the interval value. So interval.current is actually holding the value, and this value will be updated after every 1000 milliseconds. So if it's a stopwatch, then it will change from 1 second to 2 second, 2 second to 3 second. If it's a countdown timer, then it will go from 60 seconds to 59, 59 to 58. So that's where we have put this logic here. All right, and then in the end we just do a cleanup. Now let's see how we can use this into the countdown and the stopwatch. So let's go and first write the stopwatch. So I'm just going to remove this, and here what we will do is we are going to have a constant which we are going to use the use timer hook, which contains all the logic. So this use timer exposes the seconds that we want to use. It also exposes the is active flag. It exposes the start function, stop function, and reset function. All right, now if we want to use them, what we will do is we are simply going to have a h2, and here we will mention the stopwatch. All right, after that I'm going to have a paragraph tag, and in this paragraph tag we are going to use the seconds that we want to display, and I'm going to put s here, which will indicate the seconds. I'm also give a class name which is a digit, so I already have a css added for the digit, and then we just create 3 simple buttons for the start, stop. So I'm going to have a button, I'm going to have a on click on that button. So let's have a on click, and we can just have a start. So that will give us a start button. And I will also add a disabled on that button. So if it's already started, then you can just stop it. If it's a stop, then you can just start it. So I will just keep it disabled as well. So I have is active that, and I'm going to use the start here. All right, I will just copy and add the same for the stop and reset. So I'm going to change this to stop. This will get changed to reset. This will get changed to stop, and this will get changed to reset. All right, for the reset, I don't want to disable this button. I want to keep it active so a user can reset at any time. And for the stop, I will just going to have a exclamation here. So if it's true, and then this will become false. All right, now we will go and check into the browser, but before that we can also write the same logic for our countdown timer. So what I will do is I'm going to simply copy this. I'm going to go here and I'm going to put it here so that we can just use it. Instead of stopwatch, I want to give this as a countdown this time. All right, and we will also going to use the timer. So for the timer, what I will do is I'm going to have a constant use timer. All right, and to this use timer we need to pass the initial value. So I will have the initial seconds, and it's a countdown, so I'm going to use the is countdown flag as true. All right, we are going to pass the initial value as a prop, so I will have a initial value here. All right, now this is going to expose us the seconds, then the start button, then the start function, stop function, reset function, and it is going to have the is active flag. All right, we have everything. Now I'm just going to remove this, and we have this as a countdown, we have this as a digit, then we have the start, but we also make sure that if it's active, and along with that, if the seconds are already 0, then in that case also we want to disable, because it's already the countdown is already completed and we cannot start it again. All right, then this will become is active and we keep it as a reset. All right, now let's go to the app.js and let's use it. So before using it, I will just remove all the stuff which we have received default from our Vite project. All right, I will also remove this, and we are also going to remove these 3. Okay, now we can just use those components, the presentation components which we have created. So what I will do is I'm going to have an h2 tag here, and in this h2 what I will write is I will write the custom hook design pattern, and then we can just use our components. So I have a stopwatch component. All right, and the second one is the countdown. So let's have the countdown, and we need to pass the initial seconds. So the initial countdown I want is for the 60 seconds. All right, so we have done it pretty much, and now let's go and try to run this application. So I'm going to go to my browser, and if I refresh it, then I don't see anything, and we might also have some errors. So let's go to the console and check. So if I go to the console and check, then we see that there is a issue with reading the initial seconds. So I'm going to go here, and we see that there is a problem with the initial seconds. So let's go and check. So I'm going to go back. I will just copy this initial second, go to the timer. I'm going to put this initial second, and I'm going to put the initial seconds here. Okay, and since we have this initial missing props validation, so in my last video we already seen that we can use it via prop type, but this time I will just do a disable so that I don't see this error. All right, and now if we go to the timer, then I will just paste it here, and I'm going to paste it here, and we are also going to change this initial second here so that we don't have this typo. All right, now let's go and check. So if I refresh it, I still get an error, and the error is because we are destructuring the props here. But when we go and check into our countdown, then we see that we are just passing as the initial seconds and true, so we don't need to destructure, we just need to use them. So let's go back, and we are going to remove this brackets. All right, so now it should work. So if we go here, and if I go, then you should that if I refresh it, then it works. So if I start it, then you will see that this will change to 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, and if I give a start on here, then it will just do the countdown of 60 seconds. So it will just go on 59, 58, 57, and we can just stop it. So now this will get stopped, and if we reset this, then this will get reset, and if we want to stop this, then this will get stopped. If we want to reset, then it will get reset to 60 seconds. So that's how you will see that we are building 2 different components, stopwatch and countdown, but they both use the same states, the same logic, and they also have the same side effects. So that's how, with the help of this custom hook, we have this separation of concern. All the logic is written in the hook file, whereas the components are just for the presentation purpose. So this also helps us to do the code reusability. So we have reused the complete code of our use timer for both the functionalities, as well as if you see, then sometimes it becomes a bit difficult to debug the issue since majority of your logic is written in your hook file. So whenever there is an issue, the higher chances that will be the issue is in the custom hook, not in the presentational components. So this was a very important React design pattern which you need to learn if you are a beginner or you are just starting with the React or you are an experienced professional, because in a lot of interviews you're going to ask some of the design patterns which you have implemented into your project or in your application. So I hope you like the video. A thumbs up is appreciated. You can also connect with me via Facebook or Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter for latest updates, and before you go, don't forget to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss the videos like this one. Thank you. Thanks for watching.